And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today on this Monday. You see the title of the video. Jeff Van Gundy gives his answer about who is the greatest between Jordan and LeBron. This is coming from the Come and Talk to Me podcast with Mark Jackson and his son. But before we get into this, I want to take time and give thanks to the people who gave super thanks last week. This will be pretty short, and then we'll hop right into the video. First up, a shout out to @BlackGhost350. This is coming from the Bronny James, LeBron James, and JJ Redick are now the Los Angeles Fakers video. And he says, get your popcorn and cotton candy ready for the LA Circus coming to a town near you this season. I can't wait for the videos with the laughing emoji. Shout out to @BlackGhost350. Thank you so much for the $5 super thanks. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And last but not least, shout out to @PhilipAvery9636. And this is coming from the same video about Bronny, LeBron, and JJ Redick. And he comes through with the $5 super thanks. And he simply says, thanks. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank everyone who continues to support the channel, who continues to subscribe, like the videos, and share the videos. You guys are greatly appreciated. Without further ado, let's get into this clip.
Who's the greatest basketball player of all time?
The greatest career of, I'm gonna break it up because I'm not gonna just fall prey to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm
not gonna do that.
Dude, gonna remix it.
I've been in the corner. He's had me in the corner many times before, and might as well just be yelling "hoo-da-hoo" and coming with up because I don't like being in the corner because he manipulates it, right? So I don't think you can argue that the greatest basketball career to date, and still adding to it, is LeBron James.
Okay, so here we go. You know, starting off with the cap. This is maybe the single most annoying thing about people in the media, people who are in that circle of people who just can't come out and say the truth. They always have to sidestep it with some alternative compliment about LeBron James before they get into their actual feeling. Hey, fanboys, you guys should feel terrible that anytime someone is asked a question about your king, that they have to say something totally unrelated to what the topic is. Jeff Van Gundy, he asked you who is the greatest of all time. He didn't ask you who had the greatest career, even though you're capping about that. I mean, again, the only way you can give credence to LeBron James' career is to ignore all the BS that went along with his career. Is to ignore all the shortcuts. So yeah, but anyway, as you can see, we are, it starts off exactly how you can expect anyone in that circle to answer a question like that. It starts by capping for LeBron.
I just don't think you can argue that. With all he's been able to accomplish, all the records.
You can argue that.
And really the longevity is just, really an incredible feat. The best player in any one game to win it, if you had to put all the marbles, to state it, there's a lot of ones that you could go with, but my personal one I would take Jordan to win one game because I think the combination of athleticism, skill, will was something, people used to ask, like, what was the name of that special, that ESPN thing they did on him?
And here's the real answer. How many times, how many different people have we heard say this? Again, you fanboys should feel really bad about what you're supporting when anytime someone says, who's the greatest? And then they have to sidestep the question with talking about, well, the greatest career. Well, I didn't ask you that. I did not ask you who you thought had the greatest career. I asked you who you thought was the greatest of all time. And so many people we see in the mainstream media has answered the question just like this. It's like they have to cap for LeBron first. They have to say something about LeBron, say something good about him first. And to me, this is really sick that you have a guy with this whole clutch sports thing that put pressure on people so much that they feel the need that they can't just come out and say what their honest opinion is. That they can't just come out and say, hey, who's the greatest of all time? Michael Jordan. That's who I think it is. No, it is always, LeBron James, he has that school and he has a museum about himself and now he's playing with his son. I think that's fantastic. And he's a great father and all this stuff is sidestepping the question. And then we get down to the nitty gritty. Well, if I had to win one game, if you had to win one game, that means you would choose this player for any of the games that you have to win, right? Which is supposedly every game. It should be every game, right? I mean, this is why you play. You play to win. But they try to the gymnastics they do to try to not make the gap seem like it's as big as it is between Jordan and LeBron. The gymnastics they do, they always say, well, if I had one game to win, well, aren't you trying to win every game? If it came down to one game, I would choose Michael Jordan. Well, that's your answer. Is Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. And it's not close. And it should be okay to say that.
What was the name of that? Last Dance, right?
Yes.
They said, you watched The Last Dance. I said, no, I lived it. And so because, he got 55, like against, he had a double nickel coming back off baseball. 10 days later, against the best defense in basketball, back when the rules were not conducive to offensive play, right? There was no freedom of movement. There was freedom to get your head handed to you if you came through the line, right? He got 55 against the New York Knicks on the road and hit Winnington when we doubled late with a Luka Doncic special, like go up and at the last minute, find somebody, and he found Winnington. And so, like, I never seen anything quite like that. Like, guy goes off and plays baseball for 2 years. Hey, I want to play basketball again. 10 days later, he's getting 55 in the Garden. It's like.
And that play he's talking about where he passed to Winnington, I can remember that in my head like it was yesterday. I know exactly what play he's talking about because that's the play where he about broke John Starks' ankle. He was driving so hard to his right and stopped on a dime that he about broke John Starks' ankle. But the whole Last Dance thing, I think, really solidified Jordan's GOAT status to a lot of the younger generation. But one thing he said that I don't think, because you fanboys love to try to pretend as if Michael Jordan's retirement the first time was some sort of vacation, was some sort of break. It's like, oh, well, he retired and he just got to rest and recuperate and came back fresh for another 3 championships. Again, everybody knows who plays sports. It's easier to stay in shape than it is to get in shape. Everybody who plays sports knows that if you're training from one sport that's completely different from your own, then you're not going to be in the same shape for that original sport. In other words, if you're playing basketball and now all of a sudden you're training the muscles that are best for baseball, well, yeah, you're not in basketball shape. But what Jeff Van Gundy said is like, that's amazing that a player retired, go play baseball, all of a sudden decides he wants to play basketball again, and he's dropping 55 in the Garden. He's dropping 55 in Madison Square Garden a week or 2 later. That is crazy. And that is only something that Michael Jordan could do. Because I want to say this. This is the thing that I believe that also separated Michael Jordan from a lot of people. Not just the mind, because the mind is a big part of it, but also the motor. You know, Michael Jordan's motor just never ran out of energy. Like, we've all heard the stories of him staying up late. I was just watching a podcast with Kendall Gill and Will Perdue on there, and they're talking about Michael Jordan staying up, just 5 and 6 in the morning gambling, and then scoring 40 the next day. Michael Jordan's motor is another thing that I think completely separated him from a lot of athletes. I think it separates him from LeBron James as well, because despite the praise that LeBron James gets from staying in shape, go back and look at some of LeBron James' earlier games, and I think you will be surprised to see how gassed he looks at certain points in those games. And again, if you go back and look at early Michael Jordan videos, and again, you got to take this into consideration. LeBron James came into the league earlier than Jordan. So LeBron James had that youthful energy for longer than what Jordan had. LeBron James came out of high school. Michael Jordan went to college first. So I think Michael Jordan was 21 when he first got into the league. So, but go back and watch early Michael Jordan footage, and you will see no signs of being tired. Not gassed. Not looking like he can't pull through. Michael Jordan always was on 10 when he was younger. And as a matter of fact, if you just watch the historic Bulls mixtape, that mixtape, because it goes through the beginning of his career to the end of the career, you can actually watch the evolution of his game. You can see when he was younger, like the explosiveness was just on 10 all the time. Like he didn't know how to do anything else. And then you can see like kind of, I would say right around 92, definitely by 93, but probably right around 92, his game started to change a little bit, and he became a bit more crafty. I think even by 92, I would say some of his athleticism, I don't want to say slowed down, but I think maybe at that point, like I said, he was just more conscious. He was a little smarter, so he was a little more crafty, and I don't think he felt the need to just use the athleticism in the same way. And then, of course, we know when he came back for the second three-peat, that was when you could definitely tell that the athleticism had waned a bit from where he was. But again, to me, that's when he was in his mental prime, and he was just, his knowledge of the game was at its height, and he just knew how to win. Again, the game looked, except for the fact that you could see the fatigue and whatnot, the game looked is easy to him. Like he looked as poised as ever. He just looked like he knew how to win at that point. But anyway, we gonna hold up here. Like I said, I thought this was just an interesting clip with Jeff Van Gundy doing the typical thing that anybody in the media who thinks Michael Jordan is the GOAT still has to preface it, still has to cap for LeBron, thus making them members of the CFL. To me, if you have to start your analysis on the GOAT with some praise for LeBron, even if you think Jordan is the GOAT, you are still a member of the CFL. You are still capping for LeBron. Because again, LeBron James is not number 2, at least not in the rankings. And, you know, again, all these things that they say about him, you know, oh, Jordan may be 1A and LeBron is 1B, that's cap. You know, LeBron James has the greatest career, that's cap. Like, I want to see someone just straight up answer the question without having to, you know, preface it with some praise for LeBron. You know, he asked you, who did you think was the greatest of all time? You could have simply said Michael Jordan. And again, this whole thing about, oh, if I had to win one game, well, if you had to win one game and you would choose Michael Jordan, that means you would choose him for any game because you are supposed to be trying to win every game, right? I mean, that... Okay. Anyway, we're going to hold up here. Let me know what you guys think of this clip. What did you think of Jeff Van Gundy's response to Mark Jackson's question about the GOAT? Do you agree with Jeff Van Gundy? Do you think Jeff Van Gundy is a member of the CFL? Do you think LeBron James has a legitimate claim for greatest career? Because I absolutely do. I think everything about LeBron James is bogus. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.